Okay, so looks like one of the BMC front runners then could indeed be claiming top honours here as away we go. Oh, a little bit of creeping there. Not a great start by Chris Wright and Paul Bailey. They're down to third place. In fact, they've lost the lead in the F1s because that was Fayers and Fox definitely going past them as well. So we'll have to wait and see how it all settles out at the end of this race. Obviously, everybody getting very familiar with the circuit here. Unfortunately, conditions have massively changed since the soggy Friday practice. We've been really blessed with the weather here. If you're listening at home, we've had two really sunny days, and it definitely not was on the cards. Okay, looks like we've got a cracking lead there by someone. We'll wait and see if we can pick up which outfit that is as they make their way from Palmer's up to Agostini, and that is the Ryan and Callum Crow. Yeah, right. Thanks, mate. Yeah, that backs up exactly what I was saying. All good stuff. Now, who's it going to be for the second place? Because Ryan and Callum Crow don't count for points at the end of the day. That is Greg Lambert and Andy Jeevens there. And then that's Fayers and Fox, Wright and Bailey behind them. I think that could be Hancock and Bevan behind them as well. So I'm starting to get a bit more familiar with these sidecars now. And then behind them, now I'm going to draw a blank on that one.
Number 83, that is Buchanan and Evans, number 83.
Yep, the Bullion Racing team, sponsored by a pub. Fantastic stuff. Their own pub, I believe, but hey, it doesn't matter. A pub's a pub at the end of the day. 188 return to paddock there. That is Best and Whitlock. There we go. So that's a great shame for them. And it's always an annoying way to have to end your weekend going back very early in the race after waiting so long to go out and play with the other children. So Ryan and Callum Crow. Again, another one of our overseas outfits, I believe. List their hometown as Jerby. So I'm guessing they're probably heading back on the ferry tonight, and unless they're going to hold them in good stead as they go on the brakes there. But Lambert and Jeevens, they go down the inside. They do the old cut back. Nice move there by Greg Lambert, not taking any prisoners there. Chris Wright and Paul Bailey. And this is a battle of the top F1 and the top F2 in BMC terms as well this season. Chris Wright and Paul Bailey have been regular podium finishers at the end of the season for the last few years, but they're looking to take the top spot at the end of this year, and Greg Lambert wouldn't mind outscoring them in overall terms either as they make their way up to Agostini's, and once again it is Lambert on that slightly more nimble F2 outfit who's doing the business up to Agostini's. It's very hard to spot the solo. Spotting the sidecars even harder, isn't it, mate? But yeah, Wright and Bailey right to the tail of Lambert and Jeevens there. Hancock as well has moved up nicely as well. So that's a good solid second for RJ Hancock and Baz Bevan. Baz BB Van, as he's known to his friends. B. Bevan. Anyway, he knows who he is. There's a good little scrap in the sidecars there as they round Oggies up towards Williams onto the straight. Now this is where you think the extra power of the MT10 would come into play. Obviously Greg Lambert has that slightly more nimble machine which nips around the corners a little bit better, but Wright and Bailey with a few more herbs under the right wrist there as they go down the straight. The pair of 62 years old actually, so their age actually matches their number this year, mate. Not just 62 in birth year, 62 in age this year as well for the pair of them. Definitely no slouches at all. Wow, look at Crow. That's a huge lead. They're into, where are we? The end of the second lap now, and they're already they have a good three-way scrap for this second place. And of course, this is all about the club race too. So this is personal pride going on here. And again, Bailey and Wright, they pull out of the slipstream of Greg Lambert. Now, does he go for the cutback once again? This time they managed to hold on to it.
Yeah, they have it covered on the inside there as they go around Richardsden and on towards Wilson's once more. But this is where that nimble Formula 2 machine, as you mentioned there, will have the advantage.
But I think Wright and Bailey have definitely served notice on Greg Lambert there. Trying to play the psychological game, and I think you've got to do a bit better than that to out-psych the multiple champion that is Greg Lambert. Greg Lambert's sidecar school, as we were saying, if you want to have a go at sidecar racing, he's the man to get involved with, that's for sure. And now we do see Wright and Bailey finding their way past. So that means it's a straight F2 fight, because Ryan and Callum, they're out of it because they aren't eligible for points. Chris Wright, Paul Bailey leading F1 outfit. And the second F1 outfit, actually of Fayers and Fox, is now sandwiching the little F2 outfits as well. So RJ Hancock and Baz Bevan, we saw this at Pembrey. They got stronger as the weekend went on, and out they go onto the straight. I tell you what, it looks like we could have a straight fight, F1 and F2 at both the leading bunch and also that third place argument as well, because it looks like Fayers and Fox are starting to argue with Hancock and Bevan, whilst Lambert and Jeevens are arguing with Wright and Bailey. Be interested to see if there's any change. Obviously, slipstreaming is a part of any sort of racing, so these little F2s might benefit from a bit of a tow from the bigger F1s down the straight there. We'll not mention the others for a little while. Behind this battling quartet at the front, Buchanan and Evans on the bull-in machine are in sixth place ahead of Charlie Moss and Josh Hope. Then it's Alison Lawrence and Greg Pym. Leah Max Eastal up next. Horton and Davies, Morfitt and Ryder, Saunders and Napton, Hanks and Banks, McBride and Edwards, and Best and Whitlock, of course, unfortunately went into the paddock a little bit earlier on in the race as Ryan and Callum Crowe come across the line to complete lap 3 over the 2:05, best lap of a 2:04.9, so the lap record's not under threat as the battling car. Look here, side by side in the F2s. Hancock and Bevan have found their way past on Lambert and Jeevens. On the brakes we go with outside there for Hancock. No, he can't hold to it. Lambert slides it down the inside, but again, there we go. We've seen some notice been given there that we've got a fight on your hands as we go down into the hairpin at the bottom of Wilson's there. Chris Wright and Paul Bailey look like they're establishing themselves in that second place. 2:12 last time, 2:12 and a half. That's their fastest lap. Behind them, we saw a 2:12 for Bevan and Hancock. They did actually come across the line in second place. That'll be first of the F2s, of course. And they were about half a second quicker than Lambert and Jeevens. Fayers and Fox in the 2:11s there, so they're a little bit quicker than the F2 outfits in front of them. So we've definitely got a scrap on our hands. And I tell you what, Lambert's not actually giving up on that overall second place. We say would be effectively an overall win, because all of a sudden he's managed to shake off the Bevan Hancock challenge and is right on the tail of Wright and Bailey. Definitely a little bit of a seesaw thing going on. In fact, he's having a good go now at the bigger outfit in front of him, up the inside there at Williams, I think, isn't he, Bradley?
He had a look there, but I don't think there was any room for him to make the pass that time around. But it really does feel like a David versus Goliath battle there between the Formula 1 and the Formula 2s, doesn't it? As the number 19 comes across the line there, just about hitting the rev limiter, it sounded like, McBride and Edwards. And that is Ryan and Callum Crowe coming back into our view now. They came across the line with a 22-second advantage over the chasing field there. And these guys were their top 5 competitors at the Isle of Man TT. And of course, well, their dad, Nick Crowe, obviously very famous within the Sidecars fraternity as well. But here comes that battle then for overall honours in the BMC Championship, Formula 1 and the Formula 2s. At the moment, it is Chris Wright and Paul Bailey, but Greg Lambert and Andy Jeevens are all over the rear wheels of them at this stage. So out of Murray's they come then. The last lap flag has gone out, and it's the 62 leading the 69 as they come across the line once again. The MT10 powered Formula 1 machine against the little 600 Formula 2 machine of number 69. Across the line they go, and still a little way further down that group there. It's a great drive actually from Fayers and Fox, isn't it? They've had a great weekend so far.
Buchanan and Evans also having a good weekend too. They'll be picking up some medals to their trouble as well if they stay where they are. So you're right, Fayers and Fox looking to make it a quartet of silver medals. Wright and Bailey though looking to make it a quartet of gold medals as well. It's easy for me to say. Okay, up we go to the very fast, tricky left-hander there at Palmer's late apex corner there, and look at the three of them very close indeed as we go into Agostini. Just a few bike links between each of them. We're going to negotiate Agostini's place where the passengers are right on the wheels there, trying to get the grip where it's needed. And Lambert and Jeevens there. I wonder if Fayers and Fox are going to have a go at Bevan and Hancock there, or Hancock and Bevan, the two in front of them. Buchanan and Evans are not too far off the money either.
So further down the order then, see Hanks, Banks and Saunders and Napton having their own little battle there. That's for 7th place in the Formula 2s. And as we look up towards, well, the race leader's already coming around Corrams then. They'll be into Murray's now and onto the front straight any moment.
Huge lead.
now. There's a 29 second.
Can't see the outfits at all on the back straight, can we? They
That's
just
the trouble.
disappeared.
Yeah,
we barely see the solos. We can just work out roughly which one's which from where they were before. But unfortunately, the outfits disappear as Ryan and Callum Crowe do indeed take the win. So they're not eligible for points or prizes, but they are eligible for bragging rights, and they've certainly got those in this race, that's for sure.
Still Chris Wright and Paul Bailey, the number 62 Formula 1 outfit, ahead of Greg Lambert and Andy Jeevans. But I think is that the 113 machine up next, is it? Sorry, Keith. Hancock and Bevan.
Yeah, it is Hancock and Bevan up next, and then it's Fayers and Fox, and then Buchanan and Evans. Don't know if there's only going to be any great change there unless somebody misses a gear or some such coming out of the corner. No, I don't see any changes at all. It's going to be as it is. It's Wright and Bailey taking the F1 win, Lambert taking the F2 win. It's going to be second places there then for Hancock and Bevan, and Fayers and Fox. Buchanan and Evans, though, that's a very good result for those guys in the F2s. Their third of the F1 outfits then will be Alison Lawrence and Greg Pym. So there's a bit of a reward for their hard work over the weekend. Charlie Moss, Josh Hope also in there as well, picking up some more valuable points in their championship challenge. That'll extend the gap between themselves and Simon Gilbert and Frank Muldoon, who once again have had a nil point weekend. I do wonder if we'll be seeing more of Simon Gilbert. I know he's very disheartened at the moment, and I totally understand why, because unfortunately when the machine keeps breaking like that, it gets very frustrating, especially when you're trying to develop something for the future.